The day my husband smiled and told me everything was finally falling into place, I believed him. Looking back now, I realize that was the moment my life was already beginning to fall apart. My name is Emily, and for 12 years I thought I had a perfect marriage. We weren't rich, we weren't famous, but we had built a life together. A beautiful house in a quiet neighborhood, two wonderful children, and a future I believed was secure. My husband, Daniel, always seemed confident. He was ambitious, respected, and successful in business. Everyone admired him. Friends often told me how lucky I was to have a husband who worked so hard for our family. And I believed that too. For years, I stood beside him through every challenge. When his company struggled, I supported him. When he worked late nights, I trusted him. When he traveled for business, I never questioned anything. Trust was the foundation of my marriage. At least, that's what I thought. One evening, Daniel came home carrying an expensive bottle of wine. He seemed unusually cheerful. "I've got amazing news," he said. "What happened?" I asked with a smile. "A huge deal. Bigger than anything we've ever done." That night, he talked endlessly about success, opportunities, and the future. He promised our lives would change for the better. But something felt different. Not wrong exactly, just different. His phone never left his hand. He kept stepping outside to answer calls. Sometimes he smiled at messages and quickly locked the screen when I entered the room. I tried to ignore the feeling growing inside me. After all, he was my husband. Then one afternoon, while cleaning our bedroom, I found a folder hidden inside his desk. Inside were financial documents. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but then I noticed something strange. Several properties, several bank accounts, and none of them included my name. My heart began racing. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe it was business related. That's what I told myself. But what I didn't know that day was that those papers were only the first crack in a much larger lie. A lie that would destroy everything I thought I knew. And a lie that Daniel believed he had already gotten away with. Because while he was busy planning a future without me, fate was preparing a single phone call that would change everything. For weeks, I tried to convince myself that I was overthinking. But the strange behavior continued. Daniel became distant. Conversations grew shorter. Family dinners became silent. Whenever I asked questions about the documents, he always had an answer ready. Business investments. Tax planning. Nothing you need to worry about. The more he reassured me, the less reassured I felt. Then one evening, I overheard something I was never supposed to hear. Daniel was in his office, speaking on the phone. The door wasn't fully closed. I wasn't trying to listen. But then I heard my name. "She doesn't know anything," he said. My entire body froze. A few seconds later, he continued. "Once everything is finalized, she'll be out of the picture." I felt the blood drain from my face. Out of the picture? What did that mean? That night, I barely slept. Questions kept spinning through my mind. The next morning, after Daniel left for work, I began searching. I checked records, emails, financial statements, anything I could find. And slowly, the truth began revealing itself. Daniel wasn't simply hiding money. He had spent nearly 2 years transferring assets into secret accounts. Properties had been purchased under different company names. Money had been moved beyond my reach. And then I discovered something even worse. There was another woman. Not a brief affair. Not a mistake. A full relationship. A second life. Photos. Messages. Vacation bookings. Plans. Plans for a future that didn't include me. I felt shattered. Every memory suddenly felt poisoned. Every promise became meaningless. For weeks, I cried when nobody could see me. I cried in the shower, in my car, late at night after the children fell asleep. The man I had trusted most had been carefully planning my replacement. But eventually something changed inside me. The tears stopped. The fear faded. And clarity took its place. Daniel thought I was weak. A week later, Daniel officially filed for divorce. His confidence was impossible to miss. He walked into meetings as if the outcome had already been decided. In his mind, he had won. He had hidden the money, protected the assets, built a new life, and left me with nothing. Then the phone rang. It happened during a meeting involving lawyers, financial experts, and both of us. One call. One unexpected call. The investigator working on our case answered. As he listened, his expression changed immediately. He asked several questions, took notes, then ended the call. The room became silent. What happened? Daniel asked. The investigator looked directly at him. We found another account. Daniel's face instantly lost color. The investigator continued. Not only had the account been located, but records connected it to multiple hidden transactions that Daniel had failed to disclose. Transactions worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Suddenly, every secret structure he had built started collapsing. The account linked other accounts. The accounts linked properties. The properties linked companies. And together, they created a clear picture of deliberate concealment. The confidence disappeared from Daniel's face. For the first time, he looked afraid. The legal consequences were severe. His credibility vanished. The court saw the evidence. The truth became impossible to deny. The man who thought he had outsmarted everyone had exposed himself. His carefully planned victory turned into a public defeat. The relationship he had sacrificed everything for didn't survive either. Once the money and image disappeared, so did the woman he had chosen over his family. In the end, he lost far more than he expected. His reputation, his trust, his future, and most importantly, the family that had genuinely loved him. As for me, I didn't celebrate. I didn't seek revenge through anger. The real victory wasn't watching Daniel lose. And when it does, justice often arrives on its own.